evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. My name is Jackie Owen and I'm the Relationship Manager at the College of Law Queensland, but we have people beaming in from all around the country. So welcome, welcome. I'm also joined by my wonderful colleague, Lisa Sylvester, who is a former USQ lecturer. So a lot of you have had Lisa at some of your, throughout the course of your degree in various subjects, and she's now practicing back in law land, but we are still really lucky to have her at the College of Law. So that's a nice combination, Lisa. You've got one foot out in law land, but you're still mentoring and supporting and teaching the next generation of legal professionals, because I know that is a particular passion of yours and you are very good at it. So let's get started. So I've got, oh, Alice coming to us from Canberra. We have got people all over the place, haven't we? It's like throw darts at a map of Australia, and that's where everyone is. So that's kind of exciting. So we're really happy to have you here tonight. So I'm going to share my screen. We have a fabulous new slide deck at the moment. So we'll just get that happening. I think that there we are. So we'll jump right in and get started. So welcome everyone. We're here to talk about practical legal training at the College of Law. So everyone's in some various different stages of your degrees, but you are on the home stretch really towards graduation and onto PLT. So we are going to answer all of your questions, hopefully, and if we don't, please ask. So between Lisa and I, we can probably answer just about everything. And if we can't, we know who to ask to get the answers. So I've invited Lisa tonight because she's actually a lecturer in the course, and she can, and also as a former USQ lecturer, she really does know the difference between university and PLT. So she's a great person to have on mind with us. So we've just done a little bit of research late last year, actually, and we went out and did lots of focus groups and have lots of chats with our graduates of the College of Law who are now admitted practitioners themselves out there in law land. And we just sort of wanted to know why they chose the College of Law, what they really liked about the College of Law, and of course, anything that we could do better to support students coming behind them. So here's our lovely friend, Jaya. I don't know if you taught Jaya. Lisa, I've known her for a long time, actually. She's a double degree, so I used to know her when I worked in accounting, and then she popped up in law. So she's a fabulous lady now working in resources law, and she talks about the flexibility of the College of Law, because she was working full-time while she did PLT, and actually mid-PLT she moved back from Perth, or moved to Perth. I think that was when she went that way. So she started in Queensland and finished it off in Western Australia with a new job. So she was doing that all at the same time. So she really did appreciate the flexibility that allowed her to do both, or manage all of the things that she had going on. So I love this saying, you've built the boat, now learn to sail. And we had and last time I did this presentation, we had an ex-Navy officer. So that was kind of, he quite got a little bit of a giggle out of this one, he said. So university is all about building the boat. It's about teaching you the theoretical foundations of the law, and obviously that's very important, and it's the very first step in your journey to being a lawyer. But now we're adding those practical tools so that you can go out into the legal profession and have confidence and competence to do that graduate level job. So we're teaching you to sail. We're adding those practical tools to show you how to work that theory as a graduate lawyer. And the legal profession has always had this extra level of training in different forms over many hundreds of years. So I actually got a question off our website the other day, off our Facebook page, saying, why? Actually, they were saying, I don't think you should have to do this course, the government should abolish it. But it's actually got nothing to do with the government. It's about what the profession says, and the profession is led by people who have been lawyers and judges and legal professionals for many, many years. And the profession requires us to have that additional level of training. So yes, that your university degree, you cannot be a lawyer without a university degree, but you can't be a lawyer just with a university degree. You need to add that PLT and the practical legal training on top of it. So we're going to talk about how the College of Law is flexible and works around everyone's different life situation, how we support you, and how we help you to enter the workforce with confidence. So hopefully people do know that story, that it's not just about having a law degree. It's an essential step, a law degree. Certainly have to have one. Another amusing comment we got off the website, and I'm glad I don't have to answer these, but was, oh, how do I become a lawyer without having to go to the bother of getting a law degree? And the flat answer to that is, no, you can't. So I don't quite know what they expect, but you have to have that law degree, and it's really essential. We're building that foundation, we're building the boat, but then we're adding lots of practical legal skills. It's exactly what it sounds. How to actually take that theory and put it into practice, so that and practice it in a safe, secure, supportive environment with people like Lisa, and no real life consequences as well. So no one's going to jail, no one's losing their house, no one's losing their family, no one's losing their freedom or anything like that. You can make mistakes, you can learn from those mistakes, and you've got mentors like Lisa partnering with you. It's not holding your hand, it's partnering with you and supporting you and mentoring you along the way to make your work better, and to make sure that when you're doing it for real and there are consequences, you'll know what you're doing and you'll be doing it well. So that's what PLT is all about. Then, of course, once you've completed PLT, you'll get your graduate diploma of legal practice. It is an actual postgraduate qualification. And your completion certificate, you'll take that to the admissions board in whatever state you happen to be, and you'll go through the process of proving yourself a fit and proper person, and the admissions process, which is different in every state. So I do encourage you to go onto the website of the admitting body in your state and check out the requirements. But most of the time you will go to an admission ceremony. Someone that is a lawyer will stand up and move your admission, and then you'll be admitted into the Supreme Court of whatever state you're in. Now, if you are like Jaya, you started your career here and then you went to Western Australia for a bit, and now you've come back to Queensland, you can move between states. It's just one PLT and one admission process, and then all of the states have agreements between them where you can practice. You still have to go through the process of applying for admission in each state if you move. But it's certainly, just an administrative process. Once you've been through the admissions process, you are then a solicitor. Now, there is this another step in there. You do actually have to apply for your practicing certificate. And apparently there have been some cases lately where a few people have been admitted but haven't actually applied for that admission certificate, and they've gotten into a bit of trouble. So you get your practicing certificate, and that's when you can call yourself a lawyer or a solicitor. You'll be on your training wheels for 2 years, and then after that you'll go on to a full on your open, so to speak, in licensing terms, and then you're not being sort of supervised on a restricted practicing certificate. You can, of course, work in other legal roles and other non-legal roles. And you then, if the bar is calling you, you can take your career to the bar as a barrister. It's different in every state. The process in Queensland, the bar is sort of separate to solicitors, but in some states they are combined. So, but basically you'll go and do a bar course and then become a barrister. So that's the next step after being admitted. And some people wait a few years and do that. Some people do it straight away. It's totally up to you. Anyway, we're here to talk about PLT. So let's get to that. We have lots of choices for you. So the College of Law is not a one fit for all. It's very much about tailoring the experience, and there's a few decisions, not an overwhelming number of decisions, but there's a few decisions that will make it different for each person. So if this was the olden days, which was maybe 2.5 years ago, before COVID, Lisa and I would be saying, okay, well, our course is all online apart from week 1, which is our, we call it our on-site week, but it's basically week 1 is a full-time week of whether you're a part-time or a full-time student. It's a week of face-to-face workshops. They're interactive, it's group work. You're up on your feet doing things rather than sitting there hearing about things from Lisa. So you'll actually be going off into groups, into either a Zoom room or a breakout room if you're in an in-person course, and doing stuff and then coming back and discussing it as a big group. So Lisa's going to talk about that shortly. But then, of course, COVID happened and we did that infamous pivot, and we changed that week 1 into an online program. So our course is all online, but there's kind of 2 different onlines. Week 1 is in a Zoom situation, but it's different to this. It's not just kind of a one-way conversation. You would all have your cameras on. There'd be lots of little boxes, Brady Bunch style. And Lisa or the lecturer actually has to know that you're there the whole time, because we went to the admitting body and said yes. Like Lisa, as a lawyer herself, has to put her hand on the heart and do the scalp, or the brownie salute, and promise, cross her heart and hope to die, stick a needle in her eye, that you're all there for the whole time. And if you happen to miss something, then you've got to come back. So so that's in a Zoom interactive, fun workshop scenario. But then from week 2 onwards, you are working through practical matters as you're learning about all the different subjects, and Lisa will talk about that. So now that we're coming out of COVID, we have 2 options. So we've kept that 100% online option, which is great, because if you are, we've had students from USQ that are kind of 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours outside of Toowoomba. So it's much more convenient for them to do, not have to travel anywhere to do the course and, pay for accommodation, all that sort of stuff. 100% online. You can choose to do that if you like, or you can choose to do what we call our blended option. So I'll talk to you about how, there is a course coming to Toowoomba hopefully soon. So you can do week 1 in a face-to-face situation. So if you know that you learn better in a classroom with other people, with other human beings, or you've just missed other human beings, you can choose to do the blended option, or you can choose to do the 100% online one. But you'll still be required to allocate Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 for week 1 to be with us in some form. You can, of course, much like university, choose full-time or part-time. So the full-time program is 15 weeks, 1 week of face-to-face workshops, with the remaining 14 weeks online, kind of in your own time. So you'll have work to submit every week, but you can fit it in and around the rest of your life. So whether you're working, taking care of families, we've got people cooking dinner tonight. So, you might work during the day, come home, take care of your family, and then pop them off to bed. And then you've got the evenings to do your work. So it's totally up to you when you fit it in. Part-time, week 1 is full-time, face-to-face workshops, and then the remaining 29 weeks. So it's just at a slower pace. So if you do have family commitments or you're working full-time, that's a great option for you. And then with your work experience, most of our students potentially already have their graduate role. So Alice said that she's working at the moment. So Alice, if that's in a legal position, you can claim up to 60 of those days already as part of your standard work experience option, and then you'll do another 15 once you've started. Or while we don't find you a placement, we partner with you to assist you. So we've got a jobs board. So we had a lawyer ring up today saying, hey, I've got a job, after a PLT student, and we were like, great, this is how you advertise it out on our jobs board. It's a free service, totally transparent. There's no one tapping people on shoulders going, hey, you should go there, you should go there. It's open. Everything is open and visible to everyone. And then we also have our careers advisors who are only available to College of Law students, and they're there to support you to polish up your resume and get interview ready. So totally the choice is up to you. Another thing that we've got for you to choose is day or night. So this is, I think, unique to the College of Law. And it used to be that probably, I'd say 98 or 99% of our students just did that 1 week, Monday to Friday, and that was how they did it. We probably had 2 groups with about a dozen students each like January and June that did the evening version. So that's instead of taking a solid week of Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and doing all the workshops sort of back to back for that week, we carve it up into 12 different bite-sized portions, and we run that over 6 weeks. We do Tuesdays and Thursdays in Queensland. Some of the states that might do this as well might do different nights, but in Queensland it's Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 o'clock, all online. So you know, you can come home, make the kids dinner, throw that at them, and then be online for 6 o'clock. And sometimes when people have busy jobs where they can't take a week away from their desk, or it's a new job, then that's a great option. And that's been so popular. We've increased that to 4 intakes, and it's gone from 10 people or 12 people in each intake to about 60. So it's really popular. And then nationally, there's about 150 courses a year. So if you just miss one, or you want to take a little break between uni and starting PLT, then you don't have to wait 6 whole months before the next intake. It's pretty much, it'll be the following month. So there's about 30 in Queensland, but nationally it's about 150, which is great. So I think we've talked about this. The benefits of College of Law, as said by our graduates, they love the flexibility, that it fits in and around their lives, and they can study how they want, when they want. It's adding those practical skills to teach them to learn how to sail that boat. And we're focusing on real world tasks rather than old school theory. So we're pretty much mimicking the world of work, and showing you, you know, getting you to practice doing things the way that they're done in the workplace rather than at university, setting you up for success with our support. And we're also a trusted partner of the profession, entrusted by 30 or more top law firms to train their graduates within the graduate program. That's just, we've been around a long time. We know what we're doing. So 48 years, going on 49 years of experience of training law graduates. And there's Jessica, she's a USQ graduate herself. She's fabulous. And pretty much, look, this is a figure that kind of changes a little bit and actually is going up every year. Over about 77% of law graduates nationally throughout Australia from every university choose the College of Law. So the good thing is, if you do change states, you'll be sitting and working alongside people who have gone through the same program as you. And the only difference is, you know, in property law, they might have learned a different state law, but obviously the same practical skills apply, and you'll have the skills to be able to, you know, learn and put that state's laws into place. When we do face-to-face, there's 19 different locations across Australia. I'll let you read your particular state. There's quite a lot there. We do in Queensland, we do Cairns, Gold Coast, Rockhampton, Sunshine Coast, Toowoomba and Townsville. So if anyone here is listening that is on the Toowoomba campus, the next in-person session is scheduled for June. Now, in all those locations, we do need a minimum of 10 because the workshops just aren't as good. They are really about interacting as a group, and you learn better with that minimum number of 10. So it really isn't as fun or as good a learning experience if it's Lisa and 2 of her friends. If you are keen to do face-to-face, get registered early, and that way we can keep in touch with you. Now, if it doesn't go ahead, we simply move. So say, you know, only 4 people register, we move that group to online. So it still goes ahead on the date. I mean, you've got the choice to move dates if you want, but it still goes ahead at the same date, you know, if you've taken leave. I can't even fit all the intakes onto one slide, and obviously we're all in different states. So if you go to collaw.edu.au/PLT, and then you click on, you know, find a course, and you can click on your state, and then you can, they're all listed by, here's all the full-time options, here's all the part-time options. So you can, it's really good. It's because there's so many, You just can just look at, so you make the decision of part-time or full-time, and you just go to the list and then go down the dates. And obviously evening courses are there as well. But there's lots to choose from. Now, let's get down to the nittiest grittiest. So I like to divide PLT into 3 distinct areas. And as a student, on your very first day, change in your head where it says 3 course pillars to your name. So put your name up there in your mind's eye, and then underneath there's a circle 1, coursework, circle 2, work experience, and circle 3, continuing professional education, or CPE. So you need to tick off coursework, you need to tick off work experience, and you need to tick off CPE, tick, 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 by your course end date or shortly thereafter. It doesn't matter if you go over a little bit, before you can get your completion certificate. And once you've got that, that's what you take through to admission. So let's talk about those 3 areas. So coursework will be attending that week 1, which is lawyers skills, plus 4 compulsory subjects and then 2 electives. So they're all on our website, and they sort of sound a lot like probably similar to subjects that you've done at law. So the compulsory subjects: civil litigation practice, commercial and corporate practice, ethics and professional responsibility, lawyer skills and property practice. I'm so amazing how I know them off by heart. I might have some notes. Elective subjects, you choose 2: administrative law practice, banking and finance practice, consumer law practice, criminal law practice, employment and industrial law practice, family law practice, planning and environmental practice, wills and estates practice. So lots of good stuff there. So depending on where you want to take your career or where you're working or the firm that you're working for, there'll be different decisions. And then you'll do your work experience, then you'll do your CPE. We're going to talk about all of those individually. So I love this simple diagram for life, but also simple diagram for the College of Law Practical Legal Training. So life and PLT is all about learning. It's about putting that learning into real practice in a safe, hopefully safe, secure and supportive environment, learning from those mistakes, gaining feedback from people like Lisa and our colleagues, and then putting that practice, sort of reviewing and learning from that feedback, and then putting it back into practice. And it's in an environment where nothing bad is going to happen, and you can, rinse and repeat that process until your work is at a satisfactory level. So let me unshare my screen, and that way I can hand over the driving wheel to Lisa. And Lisa's actually going to log into, well, she has logged into our live system, and show you a dashboard. Now, Lisa will have much more stuff on her dashboard than you will, because you're doing one course, but Lisa teaches and has taught into many courses. So she's got lots of different groups on her dashboard. So Lisa, maybe you could just talk us through what, how we learn in coursework, maybe what the assessment's like, how it's different from uni, and anything else. And obviously what the resources are, because there's no running down to the bookshop anymore, is there, and spending more money on books. Everything that you need is provided by the College of Law.
Okay, thank you. So the main thing to take away from this presentation today is that the person that's assigned to you as your lecturer, so someone like myself, is there really as the mentor. We're not there to mark you as such and get you to do various things that would be those challenges that you face during your law degree. It's really guiding you through the task to make sure that you're competent. That's probably the best thing to say about it. So sometimes people will submit something and go, oh, it's dreadful. What can I do better? I really need help. And then we're there to help you. So you may then get some feedback via oral feedback, or even a one-on-one Zoom session or over the phone, or you may get marked up documents, which is what a lot of the students have really liked over the 4 years I've been doing it. So when they've submitted something, I've given some post-it notes or some extra guidance as to what they could do to fix it. So the main thing a lot of students really struggle with is drafting. So it's something that we start off really early in the lawyer's week, just to make sure that in that on-site week or the online first week that you're getting that skill up, because you're going to be drafting a lot of documents throughout all of PLT. So what I might do is I might just show you initially what to expect from the first week, because I've actually got a timetable of what that looks like, because I'm taking a part-time course as of next week. So next week's students, when you look at your week, you definitely need to book it out of your diary, delegate whatever you can to everyone else so that you're clear, you're ready to go. So what we go through in the first day is how to interview. Now, it may seem, logical how you interview, but even in working in a commercial law practice, we have to constantly say to people, have you got a file note? Do you even know what a file note is? Have you documented what your instructions are? So things like interviewing is something that could be new that you've never done before, but it's also a skill that you learn then in that first week, on that first day. There's also a ethical decision-making workshop where we take you through some tasks which are both interactive online. So we have like a video and you watch it and you work out what you would do. And then you also use this model that we teach you to use in making decisions, which is, I think, a terrific model that College of Law came up with. And it just helps you further cement your skills in deciding the right way ethically. Otherwise, there can be lots of problems. In the unit I'm currently working in the law practice, I have some colleagues that are constantly looking at ethical issues every day as part of their job. So they look at conflicts, they look at setting up information barriers, they look at whether someone gave the right cost agreement out and what was in that, and disclosures, etc. So it's all about getting your mindset, for the right thing. Then when we go into day 2, you're learning more about how to draft. So it's not just, drafting a couple of letters. It's really getting into how do I do those special conditions. That's a big part of my current job, where I'm actually drafting a lot of very complex special conditions for commercial practice. So it's something that you get the hang of over a period of time, but it's something, again, it's an interactive workshop and you're learning that skill. The problem solving and risk management, it's something that, again, new to what you probably would have learned in the undergraduate, but really important when you're trying to work out who is my client, what are they instructing me, is there a risk to take on this client or not, and what should I do about it. The wellbeing in practice is a really big thing that we want to make sure that everyone is competent in, because we want to make sure in PLT that you get through it in a comfortable setting and that you feel okay with your decision with doing that. So if you ever get in strife, feel free to contact your assigned lecturer and ask them questions about what can I do differently, what can I do better. It doesn't matter if I'm late in submitting things. So I've worked with quite a few students in the last 3 months in a full-time course where it was quite onerous. They were also usually working full-time. So they were doing full-time PLT, working full-time, and it was quite stressful for them. So we had a few conversations, some various tasks were worked on, to make sure that they were competent and okay. But it's also a contact point that you've got. So if you need us, we're there for you if you need us. With the NDR workshop, that's my favorite one of the whole week. Love it. It's where you do a dispute resolution and you're going through the skills of how to do that appropriately. Very, very different to what you may have done in undergraduate. So if you have learnt something, it's still going to give you some primary skills, but it takes that extra level on top of that to get into like a mediation and actually confirm your instructions and get the right outcome for your client. So that's where NDR is really important. Then the advocacy workshop is over 2 days, which depending on the file that you get, could be a criminal file, could be a commercial file, depends on who picks what. And within that, you're then taken through all of the skills of how to interview a witness. So the witness goes on the stand. You also go through the possibility of having interlocutory application and then how you present such a thing to court, and then possibly drafting some preliminary documents in the first week. So what would a statement of claim and claim look like? What would an application look like? What would an affidavit look like? So it's just getting that awareness. So I just thought I'd take you through that first week, because it can be a bit of a, oh my God, my first week, panic. And then after that, if you go into a full-time timetable, I'll just see if I can get this a little bit larger because it was a bit squishy on the screen. Then this is what I just did with a course. And this is the full-time timetable. So keep in mind that after the first week, full-time, you may have to submit up to 3 tasks in the 1 week. So you really got to be diligent with your time. If you're going to do it full-time, give yourself at least 30 hours a week to be working on this stuff, to be competent, to get through the course, so that once you've done your tasks, you're then eligible to sit this oral assessment. So the reason for the task is to get you competent, get your skills up, so that you then do 100% oral assessment. Now that can seem a bit scary, but once you've gone through it and you are learning those skills, a lot of students that have got the review process in their head and they're ready for it do really well. So they do really well. So if you're doing that, you start off with the full-time course and the part-time course with the ethics unit, which is a core unit. Then when you complete that, you go into civil. Then you go into the property practice, commercial and corporate practice, and then you finish off on electives. So just keep in mind, the electives one is a really intense period of time out of your whole course. So again, put that time aside, delegate everything to everyone, or have some, meals on hand that you can just eat and eat, and definitely pick the brain of the lecturer involved through the course. With the electives, we do have our own specialisation. So mine's more into commercial employment law and some planning and stuff like that. So planning environment. So that's an area that I would be really competent in helping students. But we also have videos and audio tracks and things like that that are given by our other peers at College of Law, and they would then be submitted and help you along the way. Now, the only difference with the timetable with part-time is, as you can see, the tasks are spread out. So in full-time, we had in that first block, we had 3 tasks due in 1 week. If we look at the part-time, those 3 tasks are spread out over a number of weeks. So just in terms of timeframes, if you're in that online week or the online workshop or on face-to-face workshop and you go, I don't know if I'm going to be able to cope with this, you do have the option to switch. So you don't have to be stuck with full-time, you could switch to part-time. If you go along the way and you then change your mind, then depending on how far you've gone, there could possibly be a fee. It just depends on what time you change and the reason for change. Okay, so what I might do is I'll go onto the fabulous online site so you can see all the exciting stuff that you're going to get. So what we have set up for you is a number of different courses. So we've got the electives, but we've also got the core units. So civil, for example, when you go into the unit, we then take you through, depending on what it is, a video to welcome you to the unit, but also when you go into each module, we take you through some instructions, the various resources, and the thing I love the most, and most students don't learn about it until you say, have you looked at this yet? Case studies. The case studies is a fabulous tool within PLT that takes you through an example so that you can learn from that and then apply it to your new scenario. So I think it's a terrific tool that we've got all throughout all of PLT. Within the drafting skills as well. So when you go to drafting initial letter of advice in something like this, you can go into the case study to see what that may look like. But there's also in the resources, the terrific practice papers, which are available online. So you can then quickly, read through them or search them, etc. There's possibly some other videos depending on what you're looking at. So this is on drafting. But if you go to something like the pleadings, and we're looking at, go into preparing submissions. The preparing submissions will go through how to draft affidavits and statutory declarations, also how you would brief counsel, but we may not necessarily be looking at that in terms of assessment. but it's there so that you know how to, because as soon as you become a solicitor and you're going into litigation, you need to understand how to talk to the barristers and write the stuff and what they expect. The other one, so I'll just show you some video, where the videos are. So representing. So you're representing a client in an interlocutory application, and we take you through the whole process. So the good thing with that is you may have never done anything like that, probably have no idea what an interlocutory application is, but we take you through it. So you get a practice run in the first week with the Lawyer Skills Week, and then you're assessed on it with the oral assessment in civil. Okay. The other thing that you will get as part of your course is a CPE called Legal Tech and Business Skills. This is a compulsory thing. It used to be, you know, you can opt in or not, but it's a compulsory thing, which I think is fabulous to do, because you not only get the opportunity to learn all these different modules from the basis of, you know, applying technology to practice, Office 365, how you use that delightful thing, cyber risk, what does that even mean? So once you've gone through that and you do your final quizzes, then you actually get a further certificate. Now, with that, that ticks the box of the CPE unit, which you also need to do. So I've probably skipped ahead a bit there with Jackie, but the CPE unit is 10 hours, which this would be if you completed it all, but you also get that certificate. And it's great to say to people, I understand legal tech, or I understand, you know, the business skills part of being in practice. All right, were there any questions or anything else I should go through, Jackie?
No, that's really good. And I'm glad I don't have access to Canvas, so I very rarely see this bit of it. Yes, you used to be able to choose this or other things, so you still have to do something. But this, it's just made it a bit more standard now. Everyone does this. Everyone gets the certificate, and it ticks that third box off, which is great. That's just been zhuzhed up about a year and a half, or was it 2 years ago now? It's all blurred into one, but fairly recently. And this you do kind of in and around other stuff. So some people like to do one module a weekend for 10 weeks. This is my new saying. Are you ready for it? Some people just like to Bridgerton the whole thing, which means starting at 1 and just smashing through to 10, which is how I watched 2 seasons of Bridgerton over Easter with my friend Sony. So it's up to you how you want to do it. So it's totally up to you. So
it's a great option, because before people had to think about how am I going to get the CPE points up, and they may have to go and attend various seminars and at a cost, but this is all part of the package of College of Law, which I think is a terrific outcome for people.
Yeah, absolutely. And Alice's just asked a great question. There's only Sylvia's the only way to watch Bridgerton. I'm with you, Sylvia. I love it so much. Alice has asked a really great question. How soon prior to the course starting will we receive the timetable? It's usually the week before. And you'll get your Zoom links as well on the Friday. You also get access to the system 1 week before starting as well. So that's great. You can have a bit of a poke around and play with things. All right. Excellent. If you've got any questions, chuck them in the chat or flick your microphone on and let us know, or save them to the end, whatever you want to do. I'm going to go back to sharing screens and we will rip through well, it's really the last thing to talk about now, which is work experience. So, here's some of our fabulous lecturers. We've got over 30 amazing practitioners in Queensland who are, some of them have been lawyers in their previous life. They still maintain practicing certificates and volunteer and do a lot of pro bono work. Some of them are, like Lisa, out there being lawyers, you know, as their day job, so to speak, and then also with a passion for mentoring and developing the next generation of legal practitioners, teaching for us. Is it your side hustle, or is it just your second job, really, isn't it? So, and she fits that in and around.
I love the mentoring part of it. You know, yes, whether it was in the undergraduate or postgraduate stuff, I like to see people learn and develop and then practice. And I've kept in touch with a lot of the students in LinkedIn. and some of them have done tremendous stuff and are in committees and, you know, presidents of different associations. And I think, wow, they were one of my students once. So it's just fabulous to see them involved. Really good.
And I know for a fact that when we do get feedback from our students, anyone that's had Lisa always has glowing things about her, and lots of other stuff. I know that Lisa's one that consistently gets really great feedback, so we do thank you for that. Blush, blush. But anyway, here's some of our gorgeous faces. Many years of legal experience just in that one slide, let alone the rest of them that we've got. So we're quite proud of where our staff are within the profession. Okay, so that's coursework ticked off. We're work experience now. Matt's just asking for the differences in the Western Australia. Matt, I will do my very bestest, but I might have to connect you with some of my colleagues over in Western Australia for specific details. But work experience, we have 3 options. So again, in the olden days, 2.5 years ago, before COVID, we would have said 75 days, 15 days were the 2 things to choose from. Western Australia does 25 days in a 5-week program, and we do everywhere else does 15 days in a 6-week program. So once COVID hit, we sat and literally watched the jobs board, you know, ding, 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 just everything just dropping off. It was heartbreaking. And, you know, students had, I mean, everyone had a lot of problems in lots of different areas, but, you know, students at this point in their sort of careers, it was really hard for them. So we brought in a 0 days. So let's go through those 3 options. So 75 days is 75 days of work experience and a reflective journal. There's no extra subject to do. It's a reflective journal. And this is the graduate job that you would have if you've been working throughout university or in between university and before you start PLT. If you've got 60 days of legal work experience that meets the rules, and Sylvia was asking, no, sorry, who was it? Was it Alice was asking, you know, would something count? If you've been working and you're not sure, jump online on our website, collaw.edu.au/downloads, read the rules, have a look at those rules with your supervisor and see if they would be happy to sign you off. So we're looking to see that you have drafted documents, had you know, contact with clients, used a file management system, and have done legal research. So if you feel that meets the rules and your supervisor agrees and is happy as a practitioner themselves to sign you off, then submit those into college, and you can do that right away and have them assessed. You can claim 60 of your 75 days if it happened in the 2 years before starting PLT. So let's just say we do have a group. Lisa's got a group starting next Monday. So let's just say roughly beginning of May, first week of May, second week of May. If they can look back to May, beginning of May 2020 through to the beginning of May 2022, if they can find 60 days, they can claim up to 60 days. Their final 15 days has to be done during PLT or in the 2 years after PLT. And your reflective journal is concentrating on those final 15 days. It's sort of looking at how your PLT learning and your PLT, the work experience have sort of supported and learned from each other. So that's the standard option is what we call that. Everywhere but Western Australia, you can do the short format, which is 15 days. So say if you aren't working in a legal environment and you have to take, leave from a long non-legal job and go and do work experience, sort of volunteering, 75 days unpaid is totally unrealistic because, we all have to adult and it's just horrible some days. But, we've got bills to pay and mortgages and rent and school fees and HelloFresh boxes and all that sort of stuff. So you can do 15 days. That has to be done during a PLT or after PLT. There's no retrospective claiming there. You do an additional online program, which is 6 weeks. There's a cost. It's an extra subject. But much like your course fees, you can put all that on your fee help, which is the postgraduate version of PECS. Now,
Jackie,
yes,
Sylvia has her hand up.
yes.
Sorry, I was just wondering, will the 0 days option of having the 8-week course be available like indefinitely? Is that now a part of your core offering? Because I'm just thinking, like,
Good question.
even if I was to take 15 days, 15 days is a paid or unpaid volunteer, or even going for, you know, a $50,000-$60,000 law graduate, that's a very serious haircut, like bald haircut for me.
Yeah. Look, it won't be, and it's actually up to the Chief Justice and the admitting body of each state. And at the moment, we know that that is confirmed through till the end of 2022. It may or may not get extended. We would love it to be extended. However, we are at the mercy of the Chief Justice of each jurisdiction and the admitting body. So and I think it's an all for one and one for all, so it'll be offered everywhere in Australia or not at all. You know, last year it was going through till the end of 2021, then it got extended till mid-2022, and then it got extended till the end of 2022. So it's kind of a watch this space situation. We can't promise that, and totally out of College of Law's hands. We would like it to stay, and I believe that our senior management, you know, every time it sort of comes up, each state lobbies their jurisdiction and to keep it around, but unfortunately, maybe is the answer to that. I can't make any promises, which is totally annoying, I know.
No, that's
Jackie,
brilliant.
the reason why they're doing that is that they want to make sure that people were still connecting to the community out there, getting that mentoring happening and getting supervised, and you're not just signing a document to say that that person's competent. They're actually seeing you do the work, and that's why I think they're a bit hesitant on doing that. With it just being online, they want to actually physically see the person in action. So I think that's why the 15 days is still a minimum, which they probably would recommend.
Would go back to, I know the profession wasn't super keen on it when it happened, and the judiciary and the lack and all these important people and on committees above our pay grade, because they want young lawyers to actually practice their skills in a real law environment. But there was recognition that we can't stop people moving forward in their law careers, and that's why that was put in place. So as of today, Jedi Day, may the Fourth be with you, it is only till the end of this year. But having said that, they might come back and go, oh, we'll give it another 6 months. So we're sort of getting 6 months extensions at the.
I'd also look out for paid clerkships or summer clerkships. I know in the law practice I'm in, we do that. And that way, if you are taking some leave from your current workplace to do that work, then you're still getting money coming in the door. And it may be unpaid leave that you're taking from your current workplace, so that would then balance it up a bit. But there is also the opportunity with the work experience stuff for that firm to get to know you, and they may then offer you a grad role or an ongoing role once you've graduated from all the PLT. I know with the place I'm at, they actually pay for PLT for the students that are grads.
Wow.
So if you can get in with a firm that does that, then that's a big time saver for you, because you're there, they know you, they will probably offer it to you first. But it's also something that you could possibly get paid while you're doing your work.
It's a little bit of a try before you buy, and we know heaps of students that's happened to. Try before you buy on both sides. Absolutely. And so for Matt over in Western Australia, you'll do your 25 days of work experience and a 5-week program, and I believe you can retrospectively claim 10 days out of the 25, and the 15 has to be done during and after. But Matt, there's more information at collaw.edu.au/PLT, and then you just click on the work experience. So there's the rules sort of broken down by each state. And then if you've got any questions, Matt, give our student services a call, or I'll give you my email address at the end. You can always email me and say, hey, who do I speak to in Western Australia? And I can put you into touch with one of our lovely colleagues over there in the West. So they would love to talk to you further. Anyway, so that's work experience. We have already talked about continuing professional education. So every lawyer who is admitted, like Lisa, has to do CPD every year. It's a requirement of every single a law society admitting body in every state. So in Queensland, it's the Queensland Law Society, and you have to do your 10 points a year. Leases are broken down into ethics and different areas, blah, blah, blah. We just say 10 hours of self-paced online interactive modules. You probably do it quicker if you've been working a bit. And you get this certificate and you can add that to your resume, and that's done. So Bridgerton, I'd really like you to all, I'm studying a movement to put that into general vernacular, so permission to use, or you can do it one a week, whatever you want. So that's CPE. So let's talk about who's there to support you, as well as your fabulous lecturers, instructors, online mentors like Lisa, whatever you, many names for the same thing, really. They are real lawyers, experienced lawyers there as your online mentors. So each cohort actually has someone allocated to them. So Lisa's group is the part-time group we've got starting next week is lucky enough to have Lisa, and they are there to help you along the way. That's who you chat to if you're struggling with a deadline or understanding some concepts. That's who you get in contact with there. We also have our student support team. They're based in Sydney, but they service all of our states, and they're fabulous, and they're there for you straight away from now to ask any sort of those technical admin sorts of questions, or you can also talk to the college in each the state that you're in. We also have career coaches. So that is the beautiful and wonderful, fabulous Susan Pincus. She also has another colleague, Ruth, and between the two of them, they support all of our PLT students during and for 12 months after PLT. And they also do lots of free webinars. So we put those out through the LSA. So USQ is always advertising them. Go register. It'll be like this one. If you can't attend live, you'll get the recording afterwards. That heaps of employability stuff. There's actually one on legal tech happening soon that USQ's just advertised for us as well. So I really do encourage you to check those out. And then, of course, through our alumni and the college connections that we've built and with employers on the jobs board. Now, PLT, we've talked about the three, the different ways of doing the work experience. So that's going to affect how we're very much about only, but it's kind of like pay for what you need. It's not just like here's one thing and some people do more and some people put left. It's very much everyone pays the course fee, $9,640. I love that, and $40. I don't, it's not rounded up or down. I think it's quite huge. So that's for Australian and citizens and permanent residents. Fee helps available for those groups, or $13,900, and again $10 for international students. So it's not double, which is great. Now that's coursework. Now then, if you're doing the standard option with the 75 days, that's it. All your materials, access to your CPD, everything. That's it. Done, dusted, done. If you are doing the short format, so Matt, this is the 15-day workshop. The 25 days plus 5 weeks is a little bit less than that because it's a shorter program. But it's ballpark around $1,500. And then if you're doing that, if it's available, that 0 day with the mentored program, it's $2,000. So you either do just course fee, or course fee in the first one, or course fee in the second plus the second one. So it's kind of very much about you just pay for what you need at the College of Law. There's no one's subsidising anyone, if you know what I mean. So I like that. Okay, this is what PLT is all about, according to our friend Matt. Skills for real life. As Lisa's mentioned, we are role-playing interviews, negotiation, courtroom appearance under the guidance of lawyers, barristers and judges. We're about giving you those you're completing in a mock matters in a practical way, common tasks, mimicking how real life in the law works. So your boss doesn't come in and go, oh, I need to know what's up with that matter. 500-word assignment, essay on my desk by next Friday will be great. They don't. They say, hey, come in and talk to me about this. Tell me where you're up to with this. So it's all about that sort of verbal communication and drafting documents, submitting them to your boss, who is, in this case, actually your lecturer. And so mimicking that world of work in a safe, secure, supportive environment where you can learn. And it's not about those tests. It's about review sessions, which is the non-threatening, lovely way of saying oral assessments at the end of each course. So I quite like it. So basically, everyone's a bit nervous about their first one. Just go with it. You'll be fine. Prepare. It's open book, but you have to know your stuff. But if you have done all your tasks and listen to the feedback, put that feedback into your work, and have probably kept on track and followed the bouncing ball and are competent all those tasks, you'll do a quiz and then be ready to sit that final assessment review session. But it's just sitting down with someone like Lisa saying, hey, let's reflect on what you've learned, and then ask you some questions straight from the content. They're not going to ask you these things like way out of left field that you didn't cover. It's absolutely 100% from the content you've covered. No trick questions. They're there to get you through, and you'll know pretty much by the end whether you've passed or failed.
The good thing, Jackie, with the whole assessment thing is we have this thing called a rubric, and the rubric is really particular about what is going to be assessed. So I think that's a big thing that students should have a look at straight away as soon as you get access of what am I going to be assessed on, and then learn to it or review to it. And just to show as well, through the oral assessment, you may be asked to do something. So it could be an interlocutory application in civil. It may be a presentation to a client about their matter and questions that they've raised. So you may have to do that to the assessor as well. So like you're talking to the client about their matter. Yeah. Also, most of the lecturers will do feed forwards at the beginning of a subject. So they'll actually say, hey, this is what I need you to show about the subject. So it's basically, we're about to start this subject. Here's some hot tips. So always read those. So you'll get lots of information, and I know it's a lot, but it's there to help you. Okay, let's keep ripping through. I think a lot of the stuff. So obviously there's different PLT providers that you can choose from. College of Law is the biggest in Australia. 77% of law graduates come through the college. Now, we sat down and had a think, and we talked to all our grads about how do you make these decisions, because it can be a little bit overwhelming. But, this is our 5 top tips of how to make a decision that's right for you. And you would have gone through a similar decision-making process potentially when you were choosing a university. And of course, number 6, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, not on that slide, is of course choose the College of Law. And hopefully that's a good conclusion that you come to. But basically, it's a regular intakes. With 150 nationally a year, you don't have to wait very long for our next intake. And even state by state, like Queensland's got a course starting in most months. So maybe 6 weeks is the longest you'll ever have to wait for the next intake. So very regular. There's not like, oh gosh, I missed it. It's going to be another 6 months. Absolutely not. Study your way. Do you want to study part-time? Do you want to study full-time? Which is pretty standard. But with us, you can also do that evening, that night, like after hours option. So take that first week, we snip it up into 12 bits, and we do 12 sessions, Tuesdays and Thursdays over 6 weeks. It's all about fitting the program into your life. Can you complete it quickly? If you are doing all your coursework by the deadlines, completing your work experience, getting your forms in, doing your CP, if you're doing all the things you have to do by the deadlines, we can get you through in 15 weeks, a couple of weeks after that to get everything moderated. Although one of our grads, she let me know yesterday she got her completion certificate, and it was like a week and a bit after she'd finished. So she was pretty pleased with that.
so we can get you through quite quickly. Ask friends and colleagues. It doesn't matter what university you're from or where you are in all the different areas that we've got so many graduates everywhere. Talk to people you're working with about where they did their PLT, find some people from college and have a chat to them about their experience as well. And then, yes, we're a big, huge national organisation, but each state kind of has its own team. So while we've got the sort of the backing of a national provider, we very much look after our Queensland students, and Western Australia looks after their Western Australian students, and you know, Victorian and New South Wales, and you know, we've got local campuses, local contact and local practitioners. So you will have in Queensland, College of Law Queensland's right in the middle of the CBD, near the courts, near King George Square and City Hall. It's actually right across the road, and we can hear the clock every 15 minutes, which is kind of cool. Local contact, practice papers for Queensland law, and then people like Lisa who are out there working in the profession, which is great networking for you as well. So don't forget that Lisa's been around a little while now and knows, you know, lots of people within the law. She's very well known herself, and so she can connect you with people as well. So use that. Matthew, I love that comment. Matthew says most people that he knows have taken or are taking. That's the correct answer, Matthew. Absolutely. Number 6, choose College of Law. So here's some stuff just to show you, you know, we know what we're doing. Last year, this is just last year, over 180 PLT programs, because during COVID, the demand we were expecting it to drop, but it actually went in the other direction. And we had to put in all these additional courses. So 180 starts last year in 7 Australian states and territories. Over 5,000 students just last year came through College of Law. We delivered in, when we do face-to-face, we have 19 locations. Ruth and Susan had a really busy year. They saw over 425 students for a career consultation. Those are one-on-one. We had over nearly 300 qualified lawyers mentoring our students as lecturers and mentors. We did, look, over 11 free careers webinars with 31 guest speakers. So hook into those guys. They're free. There's some great stuff. There's actually one running tonight on how to have that when it's time for your annual review and how to prep for that and ask, you know, for a promotion maybe. We had over 1,000 jobs nationally advertised on our board. If you come to College of Law and then come back to us to do your masters, we have a very practical masters program. We'll give you credit towards 2 of the electives, so 8 subjects become 6, and you can do that in a year and a half because we have 4 semesters, for want of a different analogy. We also prep you for admission in the UK and also the Californian and the New York bar. And get involved if you've got any interest in the Centre for Legal Innovation. If you check my LinkedIn, there's a link to register for the free tech summit that they've got coming up. It's also on the USQ Facebook page, and they've just celebrated 6 years when they started. If you do happen to be a Queenslander, there's a bit few and far between. We are having our Queensland Law Society Legal Careers Expo next Monday. I'll be there 12 till 4 at the Brisbane Convention Exhibition Centre. We'll have lots of giveaways, including cookies, which I can't wait for. And you can get your resume reviewed and your LinkedIn profile reviewed, and then go around and talk to, and a free headshot, which is cool. College of Law is the principal partner, as you can see there by our logo, straight in the door, biggest stand, and I'll be there. So please come and say hello. I talked to heaps of USQ students last year, which was great, including Jessica. And look at her now, she's in the slides. That's what happens when you come and talk to me. So anyway, that's there. I would love my phone to start pinging off the hook with all my LinkedIn requests. So I'd love to connect no matter what state you're in. Owen Jackie, or just type in Jackie Owen. I'm a JSCQI, and Lisa's on LinkedIn as well. I'm sure she would love some connects as well. If you do want to get in touch, joan@collaw, COLLAW.edu.au, and I can connect you with the appropriate people in your state as well. And I do encourage you to follow the College of Law. Does some great stuff on social media. Facebook and LinkedIn are probably the places to be. But our Instagram's quite cool. That sort of bit more shows you what's going on. I believe we do the tweets as well. Can't say that I follow them, but Facebook and LinkedIn have heaps of great information, and that's where you'll find out about all the free employability sessions as well. So after our a copy of our handbook for PLT, you can scan that QR code now, but I'm actually also going to, with the recording, send you a link to this as well. So you'll get it, but all that information is on the website as well. So I'm going to end that slideshow and turn off my stop share. I'll turn off my sharing, and then I can see the chat. And we've got a few minutes over time. Oh yeah, Matt, the goodie bags are really cool. We've got these funky calico ones this year with like the blue College of Law logo. So it's my job to pack 250 of them tomorrow. So that shall be fun with my friend Sarah. So we'll have a bit of a chat while we do that. But yeah, really excited to be there on Monday. You'll see all the you'll see those goodie bags at all the different state events. So yeah, I'm going to get a free headshot too, Matt. Mine's a bit old. Yeah, so if anyone's got any questions, if you're not watching this live, you can email me at joan@colelaw.edu.au or link with me on LinkedIn and send me a message that way. And this recording will be available as well as other resources, but happy to take any questions. And thanks, Lisa, for joining us.
Oh, thank you. And it was lovely connecting with everyone again. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you all finally finish that undergraduate stuff, getting to the graduate, postgraduate, and out there into what you wanted to do. So keep in mind too that even though you may get that practicing certificate, you can do other work out there in the world of law. And one area that I'm in is, even though I do have a practicing certificate, I'm in legal tech and working in that sort of space again. So if you do want to talk to me about other opportunities that are out there, then feel free to connect with me via LinkedIn as well, or lsylvester@colelaw.edu.au, because there are lots of different career choices that you can make. It's quite interesting.
If you've got any interest in that area, Lisa is a very important person to connect with, and also our colleague Terry Mottershead. We can make that introduction as well. Terry is a lady, Terry, Terri Mottershead, Mottershead off the top of my head, but I've got to really type it. But we can definitely introduce you and point you in that direction as well. Excellent. Well, I'm very aware that there's probably MasterChef happening very soon, or whatever your reality TV of choice. I've got MasterChef on the record, I've got Lego Masters on the record, and I've got The Voice on the record at the moment because I can't even decide. So whatever you're watching, enjoy. And if you've got any questions, you think about something later, please get in touch with me. More than happy to answer or connect you with the appropriate person in your state. So thanks for joining us. Enjoy your evening and your HelloFresh. I'm off to peruse the menu, and I look forward to talking to you and seeing you at the College of Law very soon. So thanks, Lisa. Thanks, everyone. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.
Bye.